Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast to the Neil Haley Show and the Love Is podcast. I'm excited to welcome the host of the Love Is podcast, Kim Sorrelle. Kim, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest.
Neil, I'm great. Nice to see you. And yes, I'm so excited. Barney, man, I've been waiting to talk to you. Barney Saltzberg, who has written nearly 50 children's books, used to be a singing busboy. That's a story all by itself. But I had a dog named Arlo, and I don't know if you can hear my Arlo barking in the background, but he is right now. And I love the book that you brought back out again, and that Arlo wears glasses. It's so good. Barney, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I love Arlo wears glasses. I've got a granddaughter who wears glasses, and man, when she first started wearing them, she was not happy about it. It made her feel odd. It made her feel different. And the way you've put it, Arlo wears glasses together, it makes you feel good about wearing glasses, makes a kid feel good. So thanks for doing that. Why did you write that book?
Well, I have to say nothing about busboys because I did start off as a singing busboy, but I did graduate to becoming a singing waiter. I had this unbelievably beautiful stuffed animal of a dog named Arlo, who was an 85-pound golden doodle before they became as popular as they were. And he couldn't catch. He just could not catch. And it was, you kind of didn't know if you should be laughing or crying because it was funny and sad all in the same breath. But he just couldn't catch. And because I've been doing children's books for so long, I'm always thinking, is this something I can make into a story? And I immediately thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could give him glasses? And then as soon as I mentioned it to my editor, she said, this is the perfect book to introduce kids to the whole process of finding out they need them, going to the eye doctor, and what that might look like. And making it an animal is sort of 1 degree separated from being a human, and somehow that's an easier way to tell some stories. And I think in this case, having a cute dog go through the experience of being at the eye doctor was an easier way to get that across.
So, when did you first publish this book? The first time?
This book, I don't even know. I think it was 2012. It came out as an interactive book, which is why it's so short. Interactive books are shorter than picture books. And it's also extremely expensive to make an interactive book. And they kind of decided that maybe we should just switch it over because the story was so important. They wanted to have it told and just to keep it going. And I'm so happy that it's still here because a lot of times that doesn't always happen. So Arlo survived, and
Yeah.
it does work as a picture book.
Yeah, I'm glad that Arlo survived because
Me too.
it does. It is a beautiful picture book that
Thank you.
you've done. You do your own art,
I
and you're
do.
just so talented. You sing in the shower, you record in the shower, from what I understand sometimes.
I had one song I did the water wasn't running. I wanted the echo of the shower.
Okay.
Actually, it was a song I wrote for Arlo Needs Glasses. You can find a video on YouTube with the real dog, but that was the pop-up book for that one, and I did record that in the shower. So you have good research on your part. Yeah, and this book was done as in collage. So I would draw the dog on a thicker like watercolor paper, and then use an X-Acto knife and cut it out, and then paint it and glue it onto backgrounds that I made. So it has a different feel than a traditionally drawn book.
And it's got to feel great, the feedback you get from this, right? The kids that are getting their parents talking about kids getting their glasses and them reading this book, right?
The Instagram messages I get from and photographs of kids holding the book, wearing their glasses, it's really, really satisfying. It makes me feel good that this kind of helped them shepherd them through. There's a dog pun, shepherd them through the process, although he's a doodle. Um, yeah, it's lovely, lovely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would think it would be, and it really is great. But that's not the only great book that you've done. You've done Beautiful Oops. I love that. And now Melinda Gates has endorsed that as one of the top three, I believe,
Yeah.
children's books ever written by the hand of man. And that has got to be such an honor. What does that feel like?
It was amazing the day that that happened. I got so many texts and phone calls and emails from people that really recognizing the power of someone like that, having that kind of feedback. Before Melinda Gates, though, I had met Jamie Lee Curtis in LA, and she came to the studio to see what I was working on, and she saw what's called a book dummy. I can show you. Beautiful Oops was like this. It was what I drew to submit, and she was sitting next to me, squeezing my knee, going, "This book is going to change your life." And she wrote the blurb on that book. And that, I think, helped give it more attention. And she was right. The book has changed my life. So
It
yeah,
is
it
to be
was.
able to be your thing, right? A children's book author. Not many children's book authors can say, "Hey, this is what they do," right? And that's got to be a dream for you to say, "Hey, this is what I do for a living," right?
You know, there is not a night, even if I'm struggling on a story, that I don't go to bed knowing that I'm incredibly lucky. This did not happen overnight. I was a singing busboy and a singing waiter. I ran an art department in a factory wearing a mask because of the cotton dust from all the sweatshirts that they were doing. So it wasn't like I woke up one morning and said, "This is what I want to do," and money started rolling in. This was a long process. But yeah, I've been doing it a long enough time now that I know I'm lucky, but wasn't luck. You have to be in the right place, they say.
Right
Yeah,
place,
well,
right
a lot
time.
of hard work. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your first book, I think you were like 26 years old when it came out,
You
which was,
did your homework.
8 years ago,
Yes, yes, and I'm
probably.
turning
Yeah.
69 in April.
So that's
Yeah.
a couple years ago.
Yeah, I
So
say books were printed on rock in those days. Yeah, yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
yeah, interesting that you chose. How did you choose to even write your first book?
What was the question?
What inspired you
Oh,
to
what
write a
inspired?
children's book at 26 years old?
I I've been writing songs. You can see there's a couple guitars behind me. Since I was 8. That's just something. I mean, the Beatles happened, and I wanted to do that, and I started playing the guitar and writing songs. And I was studying art and music in college, and when I graduated, I saw a book by William Steig, who you know from Shrek fame. William Steig wrote Shrek in his 80s. He started writing picture books at 61. And I found one of his books, and I was so taken by the artwork and the story, and I thought, the story's so short, it's almost like song lyrics. And I like to draw. I got my degree in printmaking, and I thought, what if I put those two together? That's sort of a marriage of both of my loves of writing and I always say putting art to my to my stories is like adding music to my lyrics. There is a similarity in what that does. It illuminates the lyrics and the text. And so there's something really musical for me about the rhythm of a page turn, and they're really connected. So it was a perfect synthesis for me to find picture books as a way to make a living, and I'm not on the road playing in country bars, which is something I was doing. So I like being at home and getting to do this. It's
Yeah.
a
And
really
so you've been
gratifying
doing it
career.
for so many years. What advice would you give new authors that are trying to break out like you did?
Put your ego in a box and bury it in the yard, because you're going to have to, and to read as much as you can, and to be open to criticism, but also kind of consider what anybody tells you from an editorial position before you reject it or accept it. And there is a dance, but there's also something called SCBWI, which is the Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. Join it and find groups in your area. They're international, and start working with other writers and have a critique group. And have other people read your work to you, and don't give up.
Kim, you have your
Great.
love question that you can ask. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm a writer, by the
Mhm.
way. I don't sing. People beg me not to, I think, actually. So my kids did at least.
That's a
But I
story
wrote,
right there. See, this is where my brain works.
there you go.
The
There you
kid who
go.
wanted to sing and everyone said, don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So, but I spent a year trying to figure out the true meaning of love. I was in Haiti most of the time when I was there. And so I wrote a book on love. Love is. I learned a lot about love. And there is something special about your books that I think exude love. And I don't know if you feel that way or if that's something that you try to put into every book, but it just feels that way to me. What is it for you?
No one's ever put it that way. It's an interesting comment to make and thought to have. I'm not really sure how to even respond to that, other than I think it must be something that's coming out of me because I'm writing them and illustrating them. But yeah, that's my personality. Might not be when I talk to people necessarily, but it's clearly coming out of my work. I think there's something so magical about kids. I was just talking about my grandson's he's turning 3 this week, and I've been reading to him since my daughter was pregnant. I mean, just talking to the belly, and we ran out of books on his bed the other day, and I didn't want to get up, but there was a truck, so I read in the truck. I just picked up the truck and pretended to turn pages on it and made up a story. And I just feel like that's just become so intertwined with my daily life that I'm having fun, and it must come through in the art, in the art and the story, hopefully.
That's
It does.
fantastic. Best place people can find information on you and purchase all your books. Where can they go?
My name, barneysaltzberg.com, shows all my books. I don't sell them from the site. I'm a huge believer in independent bookstores. If you live somewhere where you have one, support them, even if you can save 10% going online. It's really nice to keep your mom and pop stores in business. And there's independent stores online as well. And there's obviously the giants that we know about.
Well, thanks, Barney. We appreciate it. It was a great conversation.
Thanks
And
so much.
you're doing some
Thank
great
you.
things for kids.
Thank
Take
you.
care now.
Appreciate
All right.
it.
That was a
Bye.
special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Love Is podcast, guys. Take care.
Thank you.